Happy Monday, everybody. Kenny Layman's here with Medicare Millennials. I am joined by successful P&C agency owner and Medicare owner, Luis Moreno. Luis, want to say hello?
Yeah, good morning to you guys. It's a busy Monday morning, as usual.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It's better than the alternative. It's better than like, hey, is my phone working? Like it's ringing. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. So we wanted to do a video today just because Luis has kind of taught me a lot about Medicare, but he's also a super successful P&C agency owner. And it just kind of begged the question, if you're a new agent and you're considering what line of insurance you want to focus on, Medicare, life insurance, P&C, or if you're a P&C agent as it is and you're interested in knowing whether Medicare is going to be complementary or a great addition to your business, we're just going to have a discussion today and answer some of those questions. How's that sound, Luis?
That sounds like a great plan. And I think we could tackle it. I think it's two different sets of questions. So let's focus on the first one. New agent trying to figure out their way.
Okay.
How about that? Is that good for you?
Yeah, let's focus on that.
Okay.
Well,
Again, my name is Luis Moreno. I'm here in San Antonio, Texas, and I've been an agent since 1999. I started with Medicare only with a captive carrier called Mutual of Omaha. Had a great run with them, and then I decided to get into the P&C world in 2001. During that time, we built a great agency. I've got 9 staff members, and they pretty much handle all of my P&C book. I created some departments. I've got sales guys, I've got service guys, and the P&C book pretty much is a well-oiled machine. All I've got to do is make sure that we're headed in the right direction. So, which pretty much put me in a scenario was like, you know what? I never wanted to let Medicare go. So P&C took a ton of my time, but then since I got my staff all geared up, then at that point, it allowed me to jump back into Medicare and focus on it. And I've been running hard since probably 2008 with Medicare, and running a lot of med subs, a lot of Medicare Advantage plans, and it's a great run. Now I'm in a scenario where I've just decided to take a little bit of step back and now help agents like you build teams, help new agents start into business. And it's kind of a new evolution that it's kind of given me a little jolt, hey, I'm excited to get back to work. But if you're one of those agents that are sitting there and thinking, should I do P&C? Should I do Medicare? The P&C side, it's tough, guys. I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't give it up. I'm so glad I did it. But if you are going to start, it is hard for a new agent to do both at the same time. You've pretty much have got to figure out, okay, I'm going to go this way or I'm going to go that way, because they're both time consuming. They both deserve your time and your dedication towards whichever way you want to go. But if you don't have a staff to help manage one or the other, then you're not going to be the best at both of them. It's just too hard of an animal. So I will tell you, pick one. Now, if I had to go back and pick one, that's really hard to say, man, because my P&C book is great, and I love my P&C book. And that P&C book is so solid that it feeds my Medicare book. So would I really go back and change it? No, but I will tell you, if I had just focused on Medicare way back then, we'd be in a whole nother scenario now. I mean, it was great then, but it's even better now. I share a story, Kenny. Have I missed a boat? What do I tell you guys that are in the business is, has a ship sailed? What are your thoughts on that, Kenny?
absolutely not. I mean, it's a prime time to get in the business. The data, the micro macro level data backs that up. How many people are aging into Medicare? How badly they need the help and assistance. You're wanted, you're needed. There's not enough agents doing it. Certainly not enough younger agents doing it, which is why my channel is called Medicare Millennials. I need to get some younger guys into it. So you haven't missed the boat, but let me kind of ask you a little bit more specifically here for that new agent that's doing a lot of research online, what they want to go with. Okay, so in your scenario, if you had little to no extra income and you were a brand new agent, right? You didn't have a 6-figure job or $500,000 in the bank. You're kind of just trying to get started financially, so to speak. Which route do you think would let you generate more free and clear income early in the short term, right? So leave whatever you have to put into your business, Medicare versus P&C, which one would not necessarily you need such a high income or a high investment upfront?
Huge, man, huge, completely swayed in one direction. And I'm going to tell you the Medicare direction. Okay. With Medicare, it's nice to have an office, but it's not necessary. Okay. If you open up a P&C shop, if you're going to be successful and you're going to get the major carriers to back you up, you are not going to be able to operate out of your home office. That's not going to happen. Now you could work for an agency. That's definitely doable. But as far as you opening up your own shop, little to no investment other than your sweat equity that you got to put into it with certifications and becoming knowledgeable in the product and attending our trainings and taking the tutelage that we both have to offer. Other than that, the only other income or financial resources that you have to put into this is buying leads.
For Medicare.
That's it, for Medicare. Other than that, there's no outcome, there's no outlay of money in an office and signing a rental agreement and staffing. That can come later.
Right.
But in the P&C world, that cannot come later. It's usually a requirement that you've got to start up front with a ton of money. So to answer your question, Kenny, definitely going with Medicare. Super easy to get into, a little bit of sweat equity and knowledge that you have to acquire, some certifications that you have to take. And after that, it's game on.
So that's great. That sheds a lot of light on that. I tend to agree with you from everything I'm familiar with those two lines of insurance. Next question here, P&C versus Medicare. As far as the market, okay, I have my own opinion on this, but I want to hear your opinion. Which one do you think is more crowded? So obviously Medicare is a little more niche. There's about a quarter of the dang population is on it, so it's a lot of people. But with P&C, you can technically target the whole population. But as far as crowded and competitive, competing with other agents, which one do you think is more competitive?
Oh my God, without a doubt, completely the other side of the spectrum. P&C is becoming more and more of a commodity. You've got so much online competition, and it's more about price than it is about the agent and the quality of service that you're getting. That's still huge, but there's only so much price that people can handle. And when you've got numerous factors that are affecting us P&C guys, not only competition, but even our own carriers. They're cutting costs, they're cutting commissions. They're making our life a little tougher. In the Medicare world, it's like a perfect storm right now. You've got a lot of agents, older agents, retiring and getting out of the business. You've got, in no other time in history, so many, let's say 10 to 12,000 a day turning 65. And not only that, but our commissions keep going up. Kenny, did you see the new commission structure?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting raises. Instead of getting commission cuts, we're getting freaking raises every year. Yeah. And with these products, they're lifetime renewals. So guys, you can bust your butt for a couple of years and build a sizable book. And then if you want to get into the P&C game, perfect. You can do that.
Yeah, okay. I'd agree with you there though, man, because every one of my buddies in the P&C business say that one of their biggest hurdles right now is just the saturation from, like you said, online sources and agencies that do things over the phone just purely on price. And then also just there's a lot of different local agencies. Whereas with Medicare, your biggest competition to me is some of the call centers. But guess what? Those people that have purchased their Medicare policy from a call center, never met that agent and have very little to no relationship with them, they want you to handle their business because you're intimately familiar with their local market and the Medicare plans that are available there, the doctors in the area. Man, there really is no competition in the Medicare market but yourself. There's just not enough agents out there acquiring these clients and customers. servicing them and taking care of them. So it's really how many appointments do you want to run? How fast do you want to build? So that definitely was a big part of my decision when I decided to focus on Medicare. So
yeah, I'm going to add to what you just said. Number one is you're dealing with seniors. You're not dealing with a younger group of people that are used to doing everything online and are okay without that personal touch. Those seniors, they're used to having that personal touch. Other than what we're experiencing right now with COVID and Corona and that little scare, most of those seniors still want to meet. They still want to do face-to-face. I had one on Saturday, and we all three, it was him and a husband and wife, and we were wearing our masks. We had plenty of a sanitizer, and we were distance apart, further. We had our 6 feet of social distancing. We took our precautions, but they did not want to do it over the phone. So it is still that personal touch with the seniors. So really the competition, you guys, you're one of the fastest growing agencies that we have. I mean, you guys are I used to teach, you put out numbers, teach agents the show me the money, what can I make? Well, I had to readjust my numbers because of guys like you. I was way under. I was like, God, the potential that you guys have out there. I had, completely had to readjust our numbers. So I will tell you, yes, Medicare, if you're on the sidelines, guys, those people want our help.
So real quick, we kind of touched on, we said we were going to keep this short and get to the point. I think we're doing that. We kind of touched on if you're considering one over the other. You shed light on, you think that you really need to, whichever one you choose, it deserves all your attention early on. And then we kind of talked about how there may be some pros to starting out focusing on Medicare versus P&C. I agree with everything you touched on there. What about a P&C agent, whether they're just an agent at an agency, they've done a little business, or whether they're an agency owner and they've already got a rocking and rolling book of business? How does the Medicare opportunity look for them? And what would you tell somebody that's interested in adding Medicare? What are the pros and cons there?
We, as P&C agencies, are sitting on a gold mine. That's what I would tell a P&C guy. You whether you have 1,000 customers or you've got 6,000 to 10,000 customers, you have no idea on the gold mine that you're sitting on. And the beauty of this gold mine that you're sitting on, all the regulations that other agents have to deal with, you as their agent, because you have an existing business relationship with them, you've got the ability to attack those people where the other guys really cannot and should not. Yeah. Okay, so the gold mine, it is huge. Okay, and that's really how I built my book. I don't do what you guys do. You're a door knocker. You buy leads. You go out there and you get in front of people. I built my book mainly by working, and I did door knock, and I did all the stuff that you guys did, but I did it on the P&C side. So now I'm kind of that lazy Medicare agent where really all that I do is I really mine my book. Now I've established some relationships with some centers of influence and they feed me, but really the majority comes from my book. So if you're a P&C guy and you're not mining this book or mining this gold mine, first of all, you're losing money. Okay, easy money. Okay, these agents, these insurers already know you. Okay, so it's just a matter of, hey Kenny, this is Luis. I'm your auto agent or a home insurance agent. I am now in the Medicare space. I'm now helping people like you, and you probably got 30 years before you need it, but let's assume you're 64, Kenny, and I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm helping people like you who are aging into Medicare. I'm helping them with their Medicare choices. Or let's just assume that you're already in Medicare. I'm helping people do reviews of their policies. So what I like for you to do, Kenny, and here's the beauty, okay? These P&C customers are used to coming to our offices. Mm-hmm. So Kenny, I've got an opening tomorrow at 10 here at my office, or how about the following day at 2? Which one is good for you? And by the way, bring me all your meds and all your doctors so we can do a thorough review of what you have so I can make a great recommendation. Yeah. And they want help. That's the thing. They want help. They want to know what they're entitled to and what they can get if they already have something. Or in the case where I went this past Saturday, Literally, the guy showed me, he's turning 65 in September. He had a stack of mail, and if it's a little hard to see, that's about that big, maybe 8 inches of mail from all the carriers. And literally his words to me, everybody's telling me that they're the best. Every carrier. And he started to get unsolicited calls. So it happens out there. And he's like, we don't know what to do. And he was a doctor referral. So it was easy. Yeah. So P&C guys, if you're not in this, here's the other thing. You want to think about your bottom line too. Number one, for me, the majority of my sales happen at the end of the year. Okay. Well, that's typically when, for me as a P&C guy, it's pretty slow. So I'm able to make that income. Secondly, I'm using this as a retention tool. We all know that the more hooks that you can have into a insured, the longer they stay with you. Well, I want their auto, I want their home, I want their life insurance. Okay, if they're under 65, I want their ACA or their health insurance policies. If they're over 65, I want their Medicare policies. I want all those policies because guess what? I don't want them to go to a person like me somewhere else and then they try to take it. Because guess what, Kenny? If I get them, I'm going to try to cross-sell everything I've got into the book.
Yeah.
Not at the time of the appointment because that's against the rules, but I'm going to find my way to get their entire book of business.
Yeah, so a good example of that, I had a guy call me. He has a captive agency out in Arizona. And long story short, what he basically said to me was, I've got my book of business. I know, essentially, he said, I recognize I'm sitting on a gold mine, so to speak. But I also want to go out and get after it and expand my Medicare book of business outside of my current book, right? So you kind of mentioned the lazy Medicare agent. You've got a great book and you're milking it for what it's worth, making sure you're taking care of your current clients. But it's also a good opportunity for somebody in that situation to expand their business. And they may even run leads, or they may even try to find referral partners in their community and not just work their book of business. This can really add a lot of new clientele as well. From my experience talking to guys getting into the business.
I agree, because guess what? They got friends.
Yep.
You take care of them, they're going to tell their buddies to come and talk to you. And then when they come talk to you, well, then of course they're in your office. They're in the P&C office. Well, of course you do your Medicare, and then they off. A lot of times they will ask, well, while I'm here, why don't we just look at my auto and my home? So it does open up the door to a lot of new business to help. One will take care of the other.
So in closing, Luis, what would you leave people with? You've done both. You're successful at both. You love both, right? You're not knocking P&C per se.
Oh, not at all.
But what's the big takeaway here? What's the takeaway for a new agent and these P&C guys when they're trying to?
I think the biggest takeaway is don't shy away from Medicare. It's not that hard. Certification this year is a heck of a lot easier than I've seen it in the past. I mean, pretty easy to do. The certification with the carriers, 20 minutes. I mean, you can knock them all out in one day and you're good for the entire year. That's usually the biggest hurdle. Now, here's the other hurdle. Okay, this is where I'm going to put a plug in for you, even though you didn't ask for it. Guys, with Kenny, these guys are one of the fastest growing agencies that we have. I mean, what are you all averaging, 100 a month?
Yeah, that's a good month, but yeah.
Guys, my charts were 100 a year when I was doing Show Me the Money. 100 policies a year, and these guys are doing that in 1 month. And for those of you that don't know, what does that really mean long term? Every 100 policies that you have, you're generating almost $25,000 in renewal income. So do the math. Let's just say that these guys slow down and they only end up with 1,000 policies after year one. Okay, they took 2 months off because they wanted to take some time off, right? All right. They're looking at now the following year, a $250,000 renewal book. And the amount of service compared to the amount of service on the P&C side,
minimum.
Completely lopsided. Even if you wanted to service, you can't. You might do a little bit, but you're not going to get intimate into claims. I mean, there's really not much you can do. The carriers just won't allow for it. And billing, Jesus Christ. Billing is, I've been getting calls already this morning on bills. Bills goes up with $1 and they're calling and asking, why did my bill go up? That doesn't happen in the Medicare world.
Yeah.
Okay. So to sum it up, I know we went a little longer than we intended. You know, whether you're in a P&C agency and you're considering it, if you're a new agent and you're debating about whether to do Medicare or not, you've heard there's no money in it. Guys, I just gave you a little bit of my show me the money. You can do it. Now, here's the other hurdle that agencies have. There are guys like me and you, Kenny, all over the country, multiple entities out there that want to get you to sign up with them. Well, a couple of things, guys. Number one, experience-wise, so look at when they got their license. Go check me out, Luis Moreno. Go on Texas Department of Insurance. Find out when I got licensed. There's a lot of guys out there that are preaching, saying how they can teach, and yet they don't have a book and haven't been around that long. I always teach, I always tell people, you know, who do you want to learn how to fight from? The guy who's actually been in a ton of fights, or the guy who's teaching from a book? Okay, you want the guy with some experience. Okay, that's number one. Secondly, you know, a lot of times, you know, as far as training and hand-holding, guys, going through Kenny, you get the best of both worlds. You know, Kenny, you know, we're all part of one team. And so you've got training that Kenny and hand-holding that you can get from his agency, plus you get us too. I got my partner, Patrick. So it's kind of a win-win. I've had sometimes, you know, agents say, well, I want to go here, I want to go there. Well, they get the best of both worlds with us.
Yeah.
So it works out all the way around. So I will tell you, you know, and I talked to that agent in Arizona, and I told him, you know, not only do you get me on your line of training, but you're getting Kenny. This guy is in the fight every single day, and he's the one who's going to be holding your hand and training you also. So you couldn't have picked a better team member to partner up with.
Yep, love it, man. I think we accomplished the goal. I hope that shed a little bit of light for you guys if you considered adding P&C or the other way around, adding Medicare. And Luis, thank you for taking a little bit of time with me. I know you're super busy managing your monster book of business over there, but thanks for coming on, man. Let's go.
You're welcome, man. And then I'll put in the last word. You know, if you're debating, you're like, hey, I want to talk to these guys, get a hold of Kenny. Kenny will give you, he'll leave, like the other guy, he let me know, hey, can you talk to him? He's got a few questions. And I'll be glad to do that. So get with Kenny. He'll turn the call. If you want to talk to me and get some specifics of how I integrate, I'd be happy to talk to you guys about that.
Perfect. Great.
All right, Kenny. Have a good day. Have a good day, man. Appreciate it.